Okay.
All right, we are live. Very exciting.
What's up?
What's up there? Peter's over here, and my son Daniel just arrived from New York.
What's up, guys?
We're in Florida, and it's 78 degrees right now?
Beautiful.
And I don't want to piss people off in the Northeast, so we won't continue to talk about that. So, guys, today's very exciting. So, we are going to first talk to Peter about all of the things that have made him like super successful, what his journey has been from back being like, a chem lab guy and a scientist to real estate to being over at Real and crushing it. In the middle of this, we're going to make a big, exciting announcement that I'm really excited about. And then we're going to talk about what we're going to do moving forward. So really excited about today, really excited about the synergy that my group has with Peter's group. And it's already, I'm looking at my board over here. I think we have 14 or 15 loans together.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's rocking. And it's like, I think it's like an average of 438,000 a loan. So it's like 6 or 7 million in the pipeline. And it's usually the worst time of year.
Beautiful.
So we are going to have a big year. I know you guys did 63 million last year and hoping to do 200 million this year.
Correct.
Good stuff. So let's just go back. We did a podcast a couple months ago, but I want to talk about how you got started in real estate, where you guys are now, and what you do differently, because there's a major difference between what you and Fernando and your group is doing and what Real's doing and what other people are doing.
Been in the business now this July. It's going to be 11 years, which I can't believe it's been 11 years already. Honestly, I never in my life thought that I would ever be in sales, especially real estate. You know, like you said, Frank, I'm a science dude. They call me Dr. Real Estate. It's my brand name, but I do have a doctorate degree. I did a postdoc at New York University. I have all this education underneath me, and then I quit to do real estate, full time. But I got into it really not thinking that it would manifest into what it has today. And I'm super grateful for that, honestly. And, now 11 years into the business, now what we're doing over there at Real with our agents, we have 35 agents on our team. We have 135 agents in our organization, which is nuts.
Yeah.
And, I don't know what happened in the industry. I started to see it, over the course of my, 10 plus years. The training just got worse and worse every year, right? And every year, it just, the amount of agents that were coming on that just really didn't know what the hell they were doing, right? People don't go into this business because this is a business, this is a career. People go into this not really knowing what to expect. Most of them just go in like, yeah, I'll make extra money here and there. Yeah, I'm going to have, freedom with my time. Yeah, I'm going to pick my own hours. It's all bullshit.
Yep.
You don't have that flexibility. Not if you're really getting into this to really be all in 100%. But it comes to the training. The training over the course of the last decade with a lot of brokerages out there just went down the drain. And I'll give you just one quick example, right? The most common question that I've asked every agent that interviews with me on day one, it's not even prospecting for sellers. It's a very simple question. You meet me at a Dunkin' Donuts. We sit down, or you overhear me wanting to buy a house. You interject. You build a relationship with me. You buy me coffee. We sit down. What do you do after that? Right? What's the next steps? 99.9% of the agents that sit in front of me say the same exact thing. I figure out what they're going to want to buy, why they want to buy it, when they want to move, and then let me connect you with my preferred lender. That is what 99.9% of agents out there do. In my experience, how I was taught in the beginning, it's the worst thing you can do as a real estate agent. So what do we do different? Something like that. I was taught, so which I teach my agents, how to basically manually underwrite a buyer right off the streets, just in a Dunkin' Donuts, right? And yes, we're not licensed mortgage loan officers, but we've been doing this for such a long time that we have an idea of how DTIs work. It's just math, right? All you need to know is just how much those people make, W-2, 1099, an idea of their debt per month, an idea of what their credit score is, right? And then right then and there, manually write out the numbers in front of them, calculate their DTIs, and then figure out how much they're going to get pre-approved for. and then letting them know, hey, if everything that you're telling me right now, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, is real, right? The lender's going to verify all this. If it's all accurate, you're going to be somewhere in this ballpark.
Yeah.
Now let me connect you to my lender.
Right. Great.
That's a little difference. That's it. That's all
Instant
it is.
credibility for the agent.
Instant credibility and massive value, right?
Yep. Love it.
That's it.
Yeah. Love it. So that's what I saw different about what you were doing early on. And, it's funny how things work, because my son actually, that was probably 5 years ago, right? He was still in high school, came to some seminars, started listening to some things. Yeah. And then ironically now, settlement photography, just went to Prague for 4 months, has a sick YouTube channel. Like, everybody in my family is like, I want to come back and be Daniel. Like the kid spent 5 months. Well, how many countries were you in? 20?
Last year in total,
yeah,
16 countries.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And, I can't take full credit for funding that. His mother funds a lot of that too. But the point is that, like, suddenly he came back. They did a movie. He's got a YouTube channel, which we could promote.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, this is great, because I'm going to quadruple or more down on my social, my content, because, to recap on the Velocity Money guys, I believe it all starts with a first-time homebuyer and a first-time homebuyer education. That's why Peter and I got along the first minute we met, because we all have to have value, right? Like, it seems like everybody and their mother is either in the mortgage business or the real estate business.
Right.
Except not everybody and their mother educates people. Right. So the world I'm trying to create is a universe of a consumer portal that educates the heck out of buyers on how to not only potentially buy one piece of real estate, but then 3, because we all need a few to retire. And by educating on your side and on my side, get them out on the street. And now we have educated buyers who are more confident, because we know in this market, if the buyer is no confident, they're not going to overbid like they need to and all that stuff.
Right.
So tell me why, getting back to your career, you guys went to EXP.
Right.
And then quickly transitioned over to Real after about a year or so. Tell me what you saw as the difference, and why is Real so great?
So, nothing bad to say about EXP whatsoever. They are an incredible company. And I honestly learned a lot. Right. But then it boils down to, and just a little bit of context before that, the last 2 years that I was with my previous brokerage, the non-franchise brokerage, I was there for 9 years of my career, gentlemen, a really long time. And towards the end, I was vice president of sales. I was getting ready to be the broker owner of the new office that we were building. So I learned a lot of the broker owner perspective of running a brokerage. And, one of the toughest things, one of the top priorities that we have, right, is retention. Right? We have to strive to offer so much value at where we are to be able to retain our agents, right? And fortunately, and I guess unfortunately for me, my coaching platform, my sales platform, when it comes to bringing in new agents, is really geared to the agents that are 1 to maybe 4 years in the industry, and they're just not really producing, right? And what I realize is that, the model is right now for most brokerages, hire 100, right? In those 100, we hope you close your grandma, your brother, and your cousin, right? We make our franchise fees, our royalty fees, our desk fees, right? 98, don't do anything. 2 become rock stars. We keep the rock stars, and then the 98% just get lost in the shuffle, and those are the ones that eventually just leave the business, right? But what I realize is that in that 98%, and the majority of the people on my team are all that 98%. What people don't realize is that 98%, the only reason they didn't succeed is because they really just didn't have that, one-on-one hand holding, really coaching, really mentoring from day one to, 3-4 years down the line. They just didn't have that. That's what I'm really, really good at. That is what my sales platform is really geared over. I have the whole entire breakdown for the first 90 days for somebody brand new that joins our organization. But at the same time, it comes from what I've learned in the past, right? And so retention, as we're creating and we're training and we're coaching these agents, we're taking them from closing 2 or 3 deals, for 2 years. First year with us, they're closing 12 deals. First year with us, they're closing 14 deals. right? It's a significant jump from their previous volume. So then the next question becomes, Pete, I'm at this split. I want this split, right? And unfortunately at EXP, I was running a standard team as a standard team leader. No matter what, once the agent caps at 8,000, they have to give the team leader a 25% referral fee, no matter what. There's no way around it, right? And I tried to go around it. There's no way around it, which is great for the team leader, right? The team leader gets 25% no matter what. But when we look at it from a viewpoint of retention, if I'm creating 5, 10, 15 rock stars, right, and they're all giving me that same conversation, Pete, you know, I love you. I love the sales program. You're always there for me. You're always on call for me. You're guiding me. You're coaching me. But I got to get more than 75%. I would love to be able to give them that 75% or more. I just couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first reason why I ended up leaving EXP for real, because now I have much bigger flexibility with my splits, with my top producers, number one. Number two, we always start at a higher split at real regardless. And number three, the cap is relatively low, 6,000 for people that are in my team. So that's number one. And obviously number two, you know, agent attraction, being able to build a huge organization was one of the goals of why I got into EXP, the cloud-based brokerages. But what I realized soon into EXP that when you join somebody, let's just say, Frank, I went underneath you, right? I'm on your downline, right? But let's just say Dan, he's incredible in marketing, right? And I want to tap into learning how to market myself. Because I am on your downline, Frank, I cannot, well, it's not that I can't, it just nobody does it. I can't go to Dan and say, hey, Dan, can you help me out? Because what I started to realize that first year at EXP, when I was trying to do that, or some of my agents were trying to do that, it would come with, no, you're not on my downline. I can't help you. I'm so sorry. It's not, you're not underneath me. You can't come into this mastermind. To me, that doesn't make any sense. We're supposed to be one big, happy organization and family. Mm-hmm. We should all be able to tap into each other. It's just not the way it is. Yeah. At Real, the cool thing about Real is we can all do co-sponsorships. So let's just say I came in and I wanted to learn sales from you, Dan, but I wanted to learn marketing from Frank. I basically named both you guys my sponsors. Now I get to go into your world. I get to go into your world. Everybody's connected in this like gigantic web. Brings out more collaboration. It allows for more collaboration. It allows for more of that family feel, which I think is the coolest thing in the world. And all of my agents seem to love it as well.
Yeah, I love it. It's amazing. And I noticed that in the beginning when we started doing stuff together, I think it's only been, 5 or 6 months where we, it took about 60 days to figure out the lead process. It's all about systems, lead flow process, follow-up, communication. I'm a big believer that every single borrower I've ever done, which has been maybe 3,000 loans in my career, they're insecure. Why? Because it doesn't matter whether somebody makes 40 grand or 400 grand or 4 million. Well, the guy that makes 4 million probably isn't insecure. Unless I had a guy once that made 2.2 million, NHL hockey player, 520 credit score.
Oh,
couldn't get the guy a loan. He's buying a $3 million house in Jersey. I was like, oh Lord, like
that's insane.
You need your CPA to pay your bills for you. Anyway. But the point is borrowers are insecure. So the family environment creates an opportunity to treat the people well.
Right.
When the mortgage business is like, I remember I used to have an ops manager who worked for me who would be like, we're the lender. We're going to tell everybody when it closes. And I'm like, no. You don't understand. The attorneys agreed. The realtors agreed in the beginning what the closing date was. If we act like we're the almighty lender who decides and dictates, we're not going to get any more business.
Right.
So, like you can act like a tough guy on one loan, but I'm the guy on the street saying, hey, you're not treating me right. So we got to treat everybody right. And I love your agents because it is a family environment.
Right.
And, we'll get ready to talk about what the announcement is. And what I've always seen is the mortgage and real estate world is very fragmented.
It is.
Just like you said in the beginning. Somebody comes in, I want to buy a house. Here's my lender. You know what I think of? I think of if you're fishing, it's like, hey, I'm going to throw you back in for a little while out of the boat. Like get off my hook. I'm going to throw you back in. Come back to me in 2 weeks when you're a little more hungry. Makes no sense. You have to close it on the spot and deliver. The difference of being somebody who gets used and somebody who's seen as value is how we educate them.
Right. 1000%. And, even right now, when you're thinking about the current market, right, interest rates clobbered everybody last year. There's no inventory. And so there are a lot of buyers out there. I mean, they were still purchasing even, during that crazy interest rate hike that we had there. But what are they all suffering from, right? What's their pain point right now? Pain point is that even with interest rates at 8.5, or when they were 8.5, they were still getting outbid. There was still no homes to purchase, right? They were just like going through the circle. So, when you look at things from a really purely sales perspective, it's not freaking rocket science, right? Supply and demand, I always make this analogy. Supply and demand, they are inversely related to each other, right? Meaning one goes up, the other one has to come down, or vice versa. And there's the same equation exists for sales, right? Values on the left-hand side equals 1 over time times effort, right? They are inversely proportional to each other. So we have to decrease the amount of time and the amount of effort that our buyer has to put into a transaction for us to seem and look valuable, right?
Right.
So how do we, when we're dealing with a buyer that's been on the market 8 months, 9 months, how do we decrease the time delay? Well, we are big prospectors. My team gets a lot of off-market properties that never make it onto the MLS. So now we can decrease the time it takes for them to get into a house, right? And then their effort and sacrifice. They probably won't have to go into a multiple offer situation. They probably won't have to outbid other people, right? So their effort and their sacrifice with their emotional state is very low. So if we decrease those two variables, that means our value proposition for ourselves as a salesperson through the roof.
Yeah. Yeah.
Through the roof.
Well, it's funny. Shout out. So I have a borrower who's a pain in the neck. He's an older guy who's trying to buy, hope he's not listening. I'm not going to say his name. Trying to buy something with his daughter. 2 years. 2 years.
Wow.
A+ borrower, a lot of money. He's just overthinking stuff and he doesn't take my advice. Shout out to your buddy Frankie Mendez, right? I pre-approve a borrower on a Thursday. We're in contract Friday night. Right? So boom. So, and he was very strong-willed with them on what they should bid because he knew the market so well. He said to them, if you bid 439, you're not getting the house.
Right.
If you bid 450, 451, you're going to win. And they did. And now, look, sometimes that doesn't happen, but he was on the money. Right. So my very first loan, no, not my very first loan, but maybe my very first year in the business, one of my buddies, and I didn't really know what I was doing. It was 2001. I started buying and selling real estate. I just kind of stumbled into the mortgage business.
Right.
I thought it was so cool that I could pull somebody's credit report. Like I was like, oh, this is great. And I was bringing some dude loans. I didn't even know what I was doing. But I pre-approved a buddy of mine, literally one of my best friends from high school, who trusts me like a brother. We're like brothers. I won't mention any names. He knows who it is.
Yeah.
Goes to Weichert, looks at a house, wants to put a bid on the house. Weichert says to him, you can't put a bid on this house unless you get pre-approved with our mortgage guy. Right? Which is totally, to me, not.
Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah.
But it's cool because I respect Weichert. Maybe the mortgage guy was just a little bit of a tough guy and made him feel so insecure, but locked him on the spot. And he called me and said, I can't give you the loan. I'm already locked with Weichert. So make a long story short, we now know how to sell around that.
Right.
But my point was always, why is the industry so fragmented? Why are we not one organization? Right. Jim Weichert did a beautiful job with that. Right. Now, there's things that we know we could do really well. And why are we not one organization, which is what you and I have now created? Because it's not the idea that your people are like, hey, Frank's one of our lenders. No. Look, I'm part of the family.
Right.
And you guys, it's vice versa, where there any question, every thought, every pre-approval, even if they have a pre-approval, talk to my guy because he could give you some advice. And that's all the difference in the world.
Right.
It's like, you know, you don't want to just be pulling credit and, you know, saying, hey, give me a pay stub. My job is to educate the people so much that they go back to your team and they're confident, right? They're 100% confident.
It's about bringing the simplicity to them. Like they don't have to do much. You guys kind of just lay it all out for them.
100%. What does the internet do for them? Confusion.
Yeah.
It confuses the hell out of them. And it goes back to the point of what we're really doing is just decreasing the time variable and the effort and sacrifice variable. We're decreasing those two variables. So our value proposition, which is the product, is ourselves, right? You're not selling mortgages. I'm not selling houses. What we're really selling is ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? We are the product first. So our value goes sky high if we can kind of, you know, influence those two variables to decrease. That's all sales is in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Right? And when I talk to agents, you know, and they're like, no, I'm selling a house. No, I'm selling a lifestyle. No, I'm like, no, you're not. You're selling yourself.
Exactly.
Right? When you're pitching somebody, a seller or a buyer, and you can think along those lines, it gets a hell of a lot easier once you get more experienced.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and it's more natural.
More natural.
Which is the key. Like anybody could call me up with a mortgage question right now, and it's like, you know, you just give them the answer. But like other guys are, you know, scripted and looking up guidelines.
Right.
And it's funny because things have come full circle in the last, I think, 60 days or so since Daniel lived in Prague for a while and got super good with photography, video. Peter does a great job. You do your own social media posts.
Right.
Me and Jasmine were doing them before. Jasmine in the office, I have her doing like 11 jobs. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. Like he can do my videos.
It's
right.
Great.
He tells me when I look stupid, say something stupid, or you know, or we
Crop
need
it out a little
crop
bit.
it out
Yeah,
a little bit.
yeah.
Exactly. And because he's grown up in the business and he's super hungry to make money and he's super hungry to help people, here's the announcement. The announcement is that finally we're going to create the world that I always wanted to create, which is him and I are going to join Real.
Woo!
Yes,
Boom.
sir.
Woo!
And we are, with Peter and Fernando, going to recruit the heck out of agents.
So let's do that again. Huh? Let's repeat that one more time because I got to get that on social media.
Okay.
I'm going to count 3. 1, 2, 3.
So we're announcing that Daniel and I, Dippold, two of us, both last name, are joining Real to recruit
Yes, sir.
the heck out of realtors across America to become the one-stop shop that the fragmented industry needs.
I love it. I love it. Awesome.
And it makes a huge difference. And here's the thing. We're building out our portal for consumer direct. We know Zillow right now is the king of the leads.
Right.
But I'm going to, with you, create an education portal which gets people in. First-time home buyer video series. Education. If you want to become a real estate millionaire, I have a $3,000 coaching course and a $6,000 coaching course. It's guaranteed that you will become a real estate millionaire if you follow the plan. We can't take equity out of our home and buy Lamborghinis. We have to use.
Well, that's even from me just seeing it, the conversations you have, like people just do stupid things and just screw up the entire thing.
Or fall in love with the equity and are afraid to touch it to buy more real estate. Right? What's equity?
It's mindset.
Feeling.
You
You forgot, you got to get it.
You know what? They see that $150,000 in their savings account and they're like, oh, I can't touch it. I can't. It's got to stay there.
Yeah. And if we look at a pie chart, right, they might have 600 grand in equity in their home and it feels great. And I'm like, you don't understand. I could secure your retirement right now by taking equity out to buy 2 or 3 more properties. And don't think of it as you're increasing debt. Think of it as I'm increasing my net worth because somebody else is paying off the loan for me.
Right.
And then you go back to the formula around, well, I don't know what real estate to buy. Well, we do. We're going to teach it to you.
Right.
Right. You're doing it. You have
Right.
a bunch of properties.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of properties. Daniel's already scheming. He's like, okay, I need a salary. I need to buy a 4-family first, then a 3, then a 2, then a 1. So what we're going to do is you're killing it already. We're going to join that movement.
Love it.
New York, New Jersey, and Florida to start. Right. I know you have aspirations to have a home down here at some point soon. New York and New Jersey are a gold mine, and it's a corridor to get people down here. And I think Florida is so ripe because there's many corporate real estate entities that need this entrepreneurial spirit of real, but more importantly, or equally as important, need the training that you offer and that I offer.
Yeah.
Because I was looking back and I trained 165 agents in the Velocity Money program for 8 hours at a time. We were doing a couple of days just for the hopes of getting a mortgage. I mean, giving me mortgages.
Right.
But now, wait, hold on. Mr. and Mrs. Agent, you're struggling. You don't know how to prospect. You don't know how to add value to buyers. Talk to Peter about that. You don't know what to say when a renter says to you, I'm going to continue to rent because rates are high and values are high. Talk to me about that because I'll show you the math. Yeah. Then we're going to create a universe that drives our own leads by educating people, right? Then we pre-approve them. The agents work in our group, right? Now they're getting leads and referrals from us on people that are ready to buy. And by the way, they're ready to buy multiple properties. And now we're going to blanket the area. And what's our number that we want to have within 3 years in our universe?
In our universe, when it comes to real estate, right? We will have 1,000 agents
Boom.
in our organization.
That's right.
All integrated within our universe. And like you, Frank, I also wanted and dreamed of having a one-stop shop, the Weicker model. The Weicker model was awesome, right? And I think everybody tries to strive for that. But I think there's so many different pieces to the pie, right? And I think you and I, Fernando and Dan and our group, we've all figured it out. And now just moving forward, it's just going to have so much value add to any agent that decides to join our organization, really.
100%. I know mortgage companies that do $1 billion a year and they treat people poorly. I know real estate agents that don't know anything and they do 25 transactions a year. And that's not good for them.
Yeah.
Maybe they're good networkers. I don't know. But the bottom line is, if you want a career in real estate or you want to improve your career in real estate, by the way, we just added 3 loan officers to my group this week, literally. So we're going to have an arsenal of bodies that are educated, that are educating on the mortgage and real estate side. And we're going to give people a family environment in New York, New Jersey, and Florida, and then nationwide with, I think, the best business model out of any real estate company in the country. Publicly traded, by the way, 5-tier override system. Like Peter's an expert at showing everybody the system, but like we can't, what does Ed Milet and all these maniacs that you watch say? We can't complain about the market. We got to create the market.
Got to create the market. Huge.
Yep.
My job is to help 10,000 everyday Americans retiring using real estate, which is 30,000 loans and 30,000 real estate transactions. I want each of them to buy 3. We can only do that with an army of ninjas. We're going to name it something cool. I don't know, Green Berets, ninjas.
I love it. I like ninjas.
You got it. Yeah.
Memorize, whatever.
Yeah. We're gonna get those people that are hungry, because I know people that have big organizations in other real estate groups. And the biggest problem is, if you have 1,000 people under you, how do you reach that 1,000th person if you're at the top? Right. So it's all about the systems and the processes. And originally I was not a system process guy, but the mortgage business taught me that, because if you don't have that loan on an assembly line, it's going to break down, because it already breaks down because people do things strangely with their bills. So bottom line, we're totally excited. I love what you guys are doing. That's why we're a family now. We're crushing it on the loan side, not because we're crushing it, because it always starts with the pre-approval, the education, the synergy on your side to understand how to add value to that client. And then they know we care about them.
Right.
And so they stay with us, because I had one guy that used to do a ton of pre-approvals and lose touch with the borrower. And I'm like, then all we're doing is we're in the credit pulling business. You could go broke doing that. Like you have to make them a family member and help them get to the finish line. And it's funny because I always talk about, do me a favor, I want you to invite me to the barbecue this summer after we close. And I've still not been invited to one barbecue by any buyers.
Hilarious. Well,
So, Peter, I have one question for you.
Sure.
Let's say there's somebody who's hungry, fired up like me, and they want to join us at Real. What do they do to start? Obviously, real estate license, but what else? What are the other steps?
Real estate license, pass the school exam, take the state exam wherever you are, hang your license up with Real, and then we do what we do with everyone that joins us. It's a 90-day boot camp. And in those 90 days, we basically make a guarantee to our agents, right? We guarantee our agents that in 90 days or less, if you do exactly what we tell you to do, you absorb all the information, you make your round of cold calls every day for the next 90 days, we guarantee that you will land your first 1 or 2 listings, no matter what. Our track record right now, if we hire 10 agents, 80% of that are actually doing that in 90 days or less. The other ones, just for whatever reason, they're just not hungry enough. They're not putting in the work. They're lazy. It's just like that in sales, but we have a high probability of getting our agents to that.
Love it.
Beautiful.
And shout out to loan officers in the industry. It's the same thing, guys. We're making a market. So if you want an entrepreneurial group, people that are going to be, if we like you and you're doing well and you have a heart for helping people, we'll have agents to literally give you, because I believe that a good loan officer can only work 25 or 30 agents that are active. So as Peter and I go to 1,000 people in Fernando, right? I don't know. What is that? I can't even do the math right now. Is that 100? No, that's like 300 loan officers we need.
It's a lot.
50. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And that's a pretty good world to create. And there's plenty of business out there. We just have to be the ninjas to go out and get it.
So you know what? Now I have a question for you, Frank, really quick, because now you're on social, right? So can you explain what the business developing manager program is, our agent partner program at Velocity of Money? Can you explain that for some of the agents that just don't know?
Yeah, 100%. So the main focus in the Velocity of Money is Velocity Money Enterprises. We're a marketing, coaching, sales company, right? So lots of seminars, over 3,000 people through my live seminars, over 5,000 people through my virtual seminars. And we're a teaching coaching organization. Anybody can be a business development rep, but I started with real estate agents. Why? Because they're the feet on the ground speaking to the clients.
Right.
So because the real estate agents can become business development reps for our marketing company, they are legally allowed to get paid on coaching revenue, real estate revenue, loan revenue. We're a marketing company. Right. So it's a beautiful thing because Velocity of Money Enterprises is in no way a settlement service provider. We are a marketing company and they are marketing people, period. Now, agents love it because we're talking to them about, okay, what did you say to that renter? I'll call you in a year. No, not I'll call you in a year. You're crazy. What, Mr. Renter, Mrs. Renter, what if I could show you a way to put $20,000 a year in your pocket by buying versus renting right now? And those are all marketing efforts. So I also always dreamed of 2 to 3 people, maybe a housewife or a house husband in each town, right? That would be talking to their friends and family about the fact that they're affiliated with a marketing company or a real estate company or a mortgage company. Right. But in the past, those people didn't want to go get their mortgage license and they didn't know how to do a loan or underwrite a loan or any of that stuff. So we're not even doing that. They're not loan originators. All they're doing is marketing for our organization, and they're legally allowed to be compensated for any of those activities.
Love it.
And
Love it.
By the way, we have affiliations with 5 different lenders across the country and obviously other real estate organizations because it's a referral network.
Right.
If I get a buyer that wants to buy in Utah right now, we're going to look it up within Real or whatever, maybe some of our buddies at EXP.
Right.
Give them the lead.
Beautiful. And then, another question. So how, for any lenders that are watching this out there, why would it be beneficial for a loan officer to interview with you?
Well, because number one, I think I have more experience and more closings than 99.9% of the people in the industry. So like, I'm like the Yoda, like the little green guy of the mortgage business because I've been through a lot, although we're still learning every day. Why? Because people pay their bills very strangely sometimes.
Yeah.
Number two, I love the broker model right now because it's stripped down version of, not 3 layers of margins to the banker, to the branch manager, to this, to that. It's
Right.
stripped down version. Number three, captive with agents. Once we bring agents into our universe, right? Now we're working in synergy. Our biggest problem from 10 years ago, when I went to some of my coaching companies, they would say, call your top 30 agents every Monday. But what happens? This loan officer offers this kind of marketing, or this loan officer buys everybody happy hour, and they leave you and cheat on you.
Right.
So, like, we're creating a universe where we all can eat off the same pie. It's not even about the money. It's about the value we bring to each other and to the clients. So
Right.
for loan officers, I say this humbly because I probably had the worst year last year that I had in 20 years. Look at your paycheck last year and look at your paycheck 3 years ago. If you're struggling, which you most likely are, we have the formula to help you get back to the levels you need to get back to, because it wasn't good in 2022 and 23. But this formula is a winning formula because the business is fragmented. And I think we're only at the beginning. I don't think we can have 1,000 people in our group. I know we are, because we both have a heart for helping people, whether they're our employees or for the clients.
So if anybody that's out there that's following me right now that are loan officers, you literally heard it from the man, Frank himself. I'm going to tag him, shoot him a DM, talk to him, because we are growing, and you're going to be a part of that, obviously.
Amen.
Cool.
Amen. Okay, so how do they get in touch with you? Jasmine will jump it on the screen. What is your contact info for hungry agents that are fired up?
So,
all right. And then you guys, Jasmine, can you put our info on there? And Dan, we got to get your info on the screen too.
Yeah.
hello@thevelocitymoney.com. And check out Daniel's YouTube channel. What is that?
Should we type it in? Or?
Yeah, Jasmine will type it in. She's super efficient.
Okay, hold on.
Tell her verbally. No, just tell her.
It's at _DanCam. That's the YouTube. Made all my travel videos of all the different countries I went to. Still making more. But the short film that I was the director of photography on and co-wrote has almost 30,000 views now on YouTube.
whew.
Yeah, and he wants to go to 100,000. So watch the movie. What is it? Like 10 minutes? It's a short film.
It's 8 minutes. Yeah.
8-minute short film.
We are at 29,811. So almost 30,000. It's been out maybe a month and a bit.
Yeah.
But we spent 4 months making this, hired real actors and paid them, had a budget. Big $200,000 camera on my shoulder. So go watch the movie.
It's awesome.
That's awesome.
We're going to use that camera to make me look younger.
It's a film camera. It was shot on film. So
There's a agent in there somewhere.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Pete, super excited.
Let's rock it.
Universe, let's go. Building an army to help people.
Beautiful. Wait. Hold on. One last thing. I got to get you one more time, gentlemen. I'm sorry. Because I want everybody that joined so far, we can't mention names, but to the new additions to the Velocity of Money agent partnering program, right? We got 2 big hitters that just joined us. Frank, just let them know what we have on my team alone in the pipeline, right? And what we have scheduled to close in February.
Yes, I believe I said 14 or 15. It might be a little bit more than that, but it's over 6 million in loans. Yep. It's over 6 million in loans. And I believe it is about 175,000 in revenue.
Beautiful. To
Just for
anybody out
February.
there, shoot me a message. This is an incredible program. Frank, he's a visionary. He started this. He had the vision. And dude, we're grateful that you're here.
Oh, I'm grateful for you guys. So thank you. And I'm looking forward to some great times, and stay warm, and God bless everybody. We'll talk to you all soon.
See you guys. Bye.